Wednesday 3.
We're at Wednesday 1.
No question in my mind.
He came from one of the toughest areas of Phoenix. Most of his friends leave, of course.
For safety and
on the defense, talking about it. You better get your ass involved. You better get involved.
I just gotta say, when it comes to former Dallas,
Different.
For sure, and they would have thrown it off because
And this guy gets off you.
Father from and then I go to bed every night like G man, I promise you that we got a What is up, Cowboys Nation? Your boy Mike Tag here with Kelly K9. We're getting this thing rolling. A special night. It's a Wednesday because I think my man is going on a little vacay, a little Memorial Day weekend vacay. So there's nothing wrong with that. So make sure as you guys are rolling in, hit that like, subscribe, share, all that kind of stuff, man. Helping the channel out. So as you can see, Kelly, hopefully you're doing good. But I get my jersey before the season. Christmas came a little early for me. So I broke out the Ferguson. That's the guy that I'm going with this year. I always try and get one. So I'm going to rock the Ferguson this year as my current guy. I showed you, got Kevin Gogan, Big Nasty as the throwback. So, I'm almost in the mood for some football. We got some OTAs. So how you feeling, my brother?
Well, I'm feeling good. I mean, obviously today's my Friday, like you mentioned. So I'm about to go on vacation. I think that's the next 13 days. I don't plan on doing any working. It's just going to be a lot of having fun with the family, going out to a lake. I'm going to go boating for a couple of days out in Texas. Gonna catch up with some of the fam down there. Also going to catch up with some of the Texas fam. We're going to go out to Cuts by Jones. Fred is going to be having a shindig at his house for anybody in the 210 area code, San Antonio, that's tuning in the show that wants to go down. Make sure you hit up me or Fred, because that's gonna be a hell of a thing going on down there. So looking forward to seeing everybody down there. And then I don't have my jersey just yet, man, but I'm like you. I get it. I try to get at least one jersey a year. I'm going with Diggs this year, and I'm very tempted. I'm very tempted to go with the same kind of jersey that you got, because I don't have everything. I have is the dark blue.
Yeah,
I don't have any white jerseys. I've got a silver. I've got the dark blue, but I just, I don't trust myself with white. I always fuck white up. Like it gets stained, man. And like the first bite of a barbecue rib, and it's just like splat, and just day ruined, man. Day ruined. So, hey, props to you, man, for getting that white and being brave enough to go out there as a guy like me, and hopefully you don't get that thing dirty and nobody spills beer on it or nothing like that,
Yeah, we don't want any of that. But I'm like you. I have Tank Lawrence in blue. I got CD in blue. I got Parsons in blue. I got Diggs in blue. So I got Zeke, throwback Zeke in white. I got a Dak and a white. So I had to, I gotta get some balance. I gotta balance the force, balance power. So hopefully maybe change it up a little bit. So I went with the white. So yeah, I'm jealous. I really wanted to get down to San Antonio, to be part of that thing. We're going to have to make it, I'll get some more notice next time. And we're going to do a Cowboys Cave, kind of road show in San Antonio. So we're going to make it happen. We're going to make it happen.
Absolutely.
But yeah, thanks everyone for jumping in the chat. Vince, Bugsy, Doug, obviously Cuts, Jeff, everyone kind of rolling in there, man. We do appreciate it. And, we're going to get into what we call the too early schedule breakdown. We're going to get into that in a little bit, but, we got some business. OTAs kind of getting started. So I think Dak, obviously this is what's going to happen if he's not signed. He's going to get asked questions. So obviously he got asked a question about his contract. And he said he doesn't play for money. I like, good answer. He doesn't play for money. He's going to let the business work itself out. He's focused on this season, this team. So he's not going to worry about it. I don't know if I believe it. I'll take the man for his word. I don't know. But yeah, he didn't really say much about it. But a couple guys missing from voluntary, right, Kelly? Should we say that? Voluntary. TAs was Parsons and CD. Again, McCarthy had his press conference, had a few things. We dropped some clips on our on our channel, so you can check him out at things he said. He did address Parsons. Said, hey, he just had some scheduling things. Obviously, he's been in Tokyo. He's been doing a lot of that kind of stuff, some promotional things, and but he's going to be there at next week or whatever. So no really concern there. CD was a no-show. So you in the chat, and of course you, Kelly. What's your feeling on all that kind of stuff?
Well, I think anytime somebody's not showing up to violent OTAs, I don't really think it's a big deal. Obviously, we expected this out of CD. He's holding out for a new deal. Micah Parsons, not a huge surprise there either, I guess, because they said he's kind of doing some, he's doing some other things to strengthen the mind and the body. He's doing, which a lot of guys have done, things like that. But, Mike McCarthy, I did hear the press conference. Mike McCarthy said that he's still checking in, doing meetings, having one-on-ones with the team personnel, which is things that they want, still in communication with them. So I don't really think it's a big deal. I will say this, though. Right now, outside of Dak Prescott, I feel like Micah Parsons is under the biggest microscope with this Cowboys fan base. I feel like right now, Cowboys fans out there all around, I think it's a consensus. We all, we love the talent in Micah Parsons, but I feel like people are kind of loading their clips with ammunition right now for Micah Parsons. So he's doing a podcast. Now he's the president of the podcast. Oh, and at OTAs. Like, there's a lot of people loading up ammunition to start firing shots at number 11. Should he not have a great, I think he's had good seasons, but they're going to start really looking for it now. They're going to start honing in on everything he does. Is he showing up in these big games? He's going to be under the microscope. So he has literally turned himself into kind of a target, maybe unbeknownst to him, by some of the actions, some of the things he said, some of the things he does. I don't necessarily have maybe a lot of problems with that. I mean, not the biggest of fans on the podcast, but I don't make a huge deal of it. At the end of the day, you got to go out there and do your job. But I do think Micah's putting himself under the microscope and making himself a target for Cowboys Nation, because you know how we do. We build these guys up and then we tear them down, man. That's not how I like to do it, but think about it. Ezekiel Elliott, great season as a rookie. He's one of the, he's a running back, comes in just on a tear. Everybody is on the Zeke, feed me, then Zeke gets paid. He's a bum. He's overpaid. He's in Cabo and he should be working out. Oh, he's partying. Him and Dak are at the club. Why ain't they practicing? It's what a certain percentage, a certain part of the fan base does. And it comes with the territory, unfortunately. But hats off to Micah with whatever he is doing. Hopefully it works, because again, man, you're going under that microscope. You're the defense.
And it's so, like, to me, it's just, I don't get it. Like, I don't get that part of the fan base. I mean, he does his podcast once a week or whatever. I mean, there's a lot of people that do podcasts, but his is always going to get pointed out, probably because he's got the star in his helmet. And he does say some things that he's probably, maybe, it's going to get overanalyzed, and those are going to be the headlines because, again, he's Micah Parsons and he's the big star in the Cowboys, defense. So some of it I think is unfair. Like Jerry Jones, they're getting ready to do a Netflix special 10-part thing and a whole, you know what I mean? So he's all about promotion too, but he doesn't get a lot of heat for that. So I think a lot of it's unfair, and it's, I'm not a huge LeBron fan, but I will give kudos to LeBron James, because I watched his now he's got a podcast. Everyone's got a podcast. He's got a podcast that he goes on, and they were talking about Caitlin Clark, and not to change the subject to basketball, but she's getting there's been a lot of comments made about her. I forgot the lady who used to be on ESPN. She said something about her and this and that, and LeBron said something that it's so. I mean, it makes so much sense, and it just always boggles my mind. Is you've got people that have reached goals, playing professionally. I mean, what kid growing up didn't want to play professional sports? I mean, I think we all wanted to be a baseball player, football player, whatever it was. But you have such a small percentage that actually reach their goal. And then you've got grown adults that want to do nothing more than to tear them down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, these are, like Caitlin Clark is getting, she is doing so much for the WNBA and for for that league, and it's an opportunity to, man, I watched the WNBA because, I mean, it's just the storylines and all that. I watched a couple games on it. So, I mean, it's just bringing fans who are more casual fans and bring it, but then just the people in the media or just people, fan base in general, just want to bring them down, and you see it in all sports. So it's just, I never understand it. I know it's money. Money is usually the dividing. You know, you see these guys make a lot of money. It does create a lot of jealousy. I mean, Devontae Smith, he got that big contract. He bought a very nice home. I mean, any of us would be like, hell yeah, move me in. And people are laughing at him because it's a modest home to the standards of the contract he signed. Maybe he's being smart with his money.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's the thing. Fan base is it's fans, man. They're you know, I always say this, and I try to see from both sides of the coin, man, but it is fan is short for fanatic, and they're just not reasonable, man. They're always going to have something to worry about. They're always going to have something to pick at. They're always going to have something to criticize. Again, like I said, we build these athletes up just to tear them down. And then
we build them back up again because we love the redemption story.
And then we build them back up again, but it's just it's stupid, man. It's really stupid. I support these guys regardless. As long as they're wearing the star, they got my support through thick, through thin, until these guys are no longer a part of the team, man. I'm riding with these dudes as long as they're wearing the star. I support Dallas Cowboys players, period. When they get paid, it is not my money. I don't give a damn how much they pay. When they eventually pay Dak Prescott and all these Dak haters that hate Dak, don't want to be on the team, are pounding their heads against a brick wall, I mean, I'm not going to give two shits. I'm really not. I'm not. If the Cowboys make that decision, it is out of my damn hands. I'm just going to sit there and think, I hope that this is the right direction for this team. I hope that we advance further than the divisional round. I hope that we win a Super Bowl. I'm going to hope. And I'm going to keep rooting these Cowboys on. I'm going to watch them on Sunday. I'm going to cuss at my TV. And I'm going to talk shit when they don't perform well on the field. Because that's what I do as a fan. But I will be supportive. I'm not going to be one of those guys that's criticizing every little thing and saying, I hate this about this guy. Oh, why ain't this guy doing that? Why ain't this guy doing, like, just shut the hell up. Sometimes I really do wish some of these athletes would go to fans' jobs and just post up. I think there was a guy one time that did that.
Peyton Manning did that on Saturday Night Live. He did a skit or a commercial. He wanted him to sign his bread.
Yeah, it just started criticizing him. You know, it's kind of funny. So I just wish they'd do more of that, because I mean, I think that some of these fans get a little out of line when they start getting into athletes' pockets and start talking about how much they won and this and that, how much they got paid, they're overpaid, whatever. Like, you pay these guys the market value. We know the deal, especially with quarterbacks. You know, if the Cowboys decide to sign Dak, there's a certain amount he's going to get paid, and it's going to be the market value. And then about 3 or 4 contracts later, he's down the list and he falls down the list. You know, people lost their minds when they gave him $40 million a year. And then a few years later, he was like 9th highest paid quarterback on that list, like 2 years later. So it's just the way that it goes. So people just need to learn chill a little bit on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I've never really worried about what they pay. I mean, and really, if you want to blame someone, blame the owners. I mean, the owners are sitting there paying these guys, right? I mean, they're the ones paying them. So obviously, there's money to be made. The owners are making a lot of money. So I mean, you know, it is what it is. I've never worried about what a guy makes. I never worried about what my friends make. I don't worry about what my neighbor makes. I mean, it always used to be that thing. It's your business, what you're earning. And you know, keep it to yourself.
I would just like to say something right here, because I know he says it a lot. Ultra, I'll just tell you right now, Ultra, you're going to be wrong about that. They're going to re-sign Dak.
I think they are too.
And I would just tell you right now, Ultra, if you really have conviction in that, I will bet you right now a Dallas Cowboys jersey of your choice. And then if they re-sign him, a Dallas Cowboys jersey of my choice, I'm a man of my word. If you would like that, or of equal value. A jersey's $150. I'll send you $150 Cash App if you want to make that bet right now. So put your money where your mouth is, buddy, because I guarantee you Dak Prescott's going to be your quarterback. You can be bitching and complaining for the next 4 years. They're re-signing Dak Prescott. I promise you.
I believe.
I don't even have question about it anymore. For a while, I had question about it. I don't have question about it anymore. They're going to re-sign Dak Prescott.
Yeah. No, it's 100. I think there's no. And the thing is, it's still, again, with this fan base. I did something on Monday, or maybe even on Saturday, whenever the hell I was on. I threw out some numbers, and it was really astounding. And you might have seen it, so you might know. But you know the longest drought of a playoff win? Do you know what team that is? Who hasn't won a playoff game?
Shit. I don't know.
Miami Dolphins. Do you know how many
Is it the
years it's
Dolphins?
been? But you know how many years it's been? 23 years. Since they won it. 23 years since they won a playoff game. Do you know how long it's been for the Oakland now Las Vegas Raiders? 18 years. Washington Redskins, and I say Redskins because the last time they won a playoff game, they were the Redskins 13 years. New England Patriots, 5 years. Mike Tomlin, who we all, I think, around, NFL, consider him, one of the top coaches in the NFL, right? I mean, a lot of people were very well respected. 7 years since the Steelers won one playoff game. So I guess what I'm saying is I know that, we hurt and we lose in the worst way and it sucks, but there's some pretty damn good franchises that, and you don't hear about it. It's just like you have Dak Prescott, and I know, hey, you could criticize him, you could do whatever the hell you want. I get it. But I've never seen a quarterback who's second in MVP voting, coming off second in MVP voting, that is gets trashed by a portion of a fan base and media than he does. It's like Justin Herbert doesn't get it. And Justin Herbert blew one of the biggest leads in playoff history, blew it against Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is getting ready to sign. They want to sign him to a $45, $50 million deal. What do you think? You know what I mean? So it's amazing.
He's getting
the fan base, the portion of fan base, and I get some of it. There's not, I get some criticism, but the hate is what blows my mind.
Well, and again, I mean, to people's credit that are like, yeah, well, they're, Dak Prescott, he hadn't got it done. He hasn't, he's not worth $60 million. I will just reiterate the fact that Kirk Cousins got $180 million.
Yeah.
And he's coming off, he's an much older quarterback, hasn't done anything in the playoffs, and he's coming off an Achilles injury, and he got $180 million from the Falcons. If you don't think that the Dallas Cowboys are about to pay Dak Prescott, you ain't been paying attention to football, man. And it has, why the Cowboys are dragging their feet on it, I don't really know, but it's gonna get done. It'll get done. Yeah. They'll go on. But I mean, it's, if Kirk Cousins is getting $180 million, you see Jared Goff getting $200+ million. Well, I think he got like 260 or something. I mean, you see the going rate for these quarterbacks, and then what they've done. They're gonna do what they got to do. They're gonna sign him, and then it'll be that, and then we'll have something.
I mean, Ultra. We don't know you, Ultra. I've talked to you. I think you're a well-respected man, and you're a man of honor, military, if my memory serves me right. I mean, you can put your money where your mouth is. I mean, Kelly offered you a wager. It would be a value of a jersey.
I'm not going nowhere. I'm right here. I will send you the one. I will send you the 150, and if I'm right, you send me the 150. It's easy to say it, Ultra. It's not easy to put your money where your mouth is, though, right?
Yeah. So and the thing is Kelly has more to lose than you do, because Kelly's on this show. He has to answer it every time if he loses and doesn't pay up. I mean, thing I would say is I will give credit to my man Mark.
Yeah, he did pay up. I seen he gave Jimmy.
He paid up on Jimmy, but I'm going to take it a step further. Mark and I made a bet, and I'll be honest with you. I thought it was kind of like, all right, it's just a couple guys talking. If it happens, it happens. If he wants, if the Heat lose, and he, if he rags on me, I'll send him the hat, whatever. And I was never going to say anything. When Miami Heat, of course, they beat the Celtics naturally. And if we weren't hurt, we probably would have beat them this year. He messaged me after that game, what's your address? And I even said, dude, no, don't worry about it. No, it's no. And he goes, no, it was a bet. Give me your address. I didn't even know who Mark was. Yeah. I never met him before. It was just through the chat. Him and I have never met face to face at that time or anything. So very honorable person. So, I mean, Ultra, you got an opportunity. Just say you don't want to make the bet and you're not a betting man. But if you're that strong about it, then
not everybody bets, but I'm just giving you a chance to, put some money where your mouth is. Not everybody does that. That's fine.
And it could be a Trey Lance jersey because he's going to be the starter in 2025.
Trey Lance won't even be the quarterback. They declined to pick up his 5th-year option. Trey Lance won't even be on the team in 2025. He'll be on another team. That was a policy they had for, I don't know what the hell they gave up that 4th-round pick for. I really don't. It still kind of baffles me that they did that for a guy that they don't really intend to do. But, whatever. It is what it is. But,
wait, he's sidestepping, Kelly.
Okay.
Now, it doesn't have to be a jersey. Kelly offered you $150. You just have to buy the jersey he wants. So you don't have to get a jersey. It's basically a $150 bet. So maybe
you can buy whatever you want. I'll send you $150. You got digital currency now. You got Cash App, you got Venmo, you got PayPal, you got all that, man. $150 I send to you. If Dak don't get signed, then $150 you send to me. I can buy a jersey if Dak when he does get signed.
Yeah.
I don't save money on that Diggs jersey. I could get 2 jerseys this year when he gets signed.
I absolutely. And Mike said, the Dak situation is Jerry. They're talking real high on Trey Lance. They're going to do that, and that's something to keep an eye on this offseason. They're going to give Trey Lance, and he talked about, they're going to give him a lot of opportunities. They're going to give him a lot of opportunities in preseason, and it's going to be interesting to see. Now, if Dak doesn't get signed before the first game of the season, I think Kelly, you'd lose that bet because I think Dak's camp and I think Cowboys would just say, forget it, because the only way that would happen is if Trey Lance is like lighting it up. But I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, Trey Lance got beat out by an 7th-round pick in Purdy. He was hurt a lot. So, I mean, people underestimate, Dak, and I understand some of the criticism, like I said, but I think, and I'm not going to beat a dead horse. I've said it 5 million times. It's a team problem. It's not a quarterback problem. It's a team problem. They got to figure out it's a team problem. But anyway, so we'll see what happens. We'll see. Kelly's buying $125 in beer. Is that what you're going to do? You're going to buy some beer.
Shit!
Well, probably for the for this weekend. Are you buying that much beer, or is it for the tailgate party?
Maybe that much in tequila this week. I'm trying to, I'm still trying to watch the weight thing. So the too much beer mark is little. I'm trying not to do that. All right. So I'm trying to watch what I'm doing here. But yeah. So in everything I've heard from. Jane Slater is a pretty reputable person. She said it, and then I think it was I can't remember the other person, but there's been 2 people within the organization that both said that they think that a contract would be in place by August for Dak.
Yeah. No, I think it will.
You never know, man. Maybe these guys are just who knows? Maybe the Cowboys are trying to figure out a way to sign another. There's still some free agents that are out there that can be had. There's Calais Campbell's still out there. There's I forgot the other defensive tackle that's out there.
There's some guys. They're the bodies that could be fillers and that could help them out. You're not going to get the cream of the crop. Obviously, he's gone, but there's some bodies. And quick question from
what's that?
There was a question from Chris. I was going to get. Mike McCarthy. Do you believe he's under a lot of pressure? Going into last year, I think that goes without saying. I don't think a lot of it's fair. I think he is. What do you think, Kelly? Same or any different?
I actually do. Yeah. It's, asking if Mike McCarthy is under extreme pressure. Yeah, I think that's a given. Like you said, he's in the last year of his contract, and just coming off an embarrassing loss to Green Bay. I don't think he gets that grace. I don't think he gets that grace if he fails again. So, you got 3 straight years, where you went 12-5 and you haven't got past the divisional round yet. Mike McCarthy is as good as gone if he doesn't get to the NFC Championship game this year. Nothing short of an NFC Championship game appearance, Mike McCarthy is out the door, gone. They're moving on to the next. Now, who that might be, no idea, but he definitely ain't coming back next year if the season ends like it did this year. So.
No, and that's really, it'd be a little bit of a shame. You think about and I know some of the playoff stuff, but again, we've dissected that 50 ways to Sunday. 12 wins, 3 straight years. We're going to get into the schedule, and I think you're going to see double-digit wins again this year with an offseason that a lot of people gave the Cowboys a big fat F overall. Now, who gives grades in the offseason? You don't know what the hell is going to happen. So maybe it works for them, maybe not. But I think everyone collectively, I think there's a lot of pressure from the fan base. There's a lot of uneasiness with the fan base about everything that's happened. So the pressure is going to be on. But, man, if he goes out and he wins 11 games, 10 games, let's say they win a playoff game, get in a division round, lose to a better team in a close game or whatever, I think it'd be hard-pressed to blow it up, And like I said, I gave you those numbers: 23 years for the Dolphins, 18 years for the Raiders, 13 years for the Redskins, now Commanders. They changed name 3 times since they won a playoff game. So it's not easy. I mean, the thing with football, it's one and done. If you have a bad day, you will get beat. And I think that's where the mental toughness of this team is lacking. And that's where, like, we joke around and, we always, I love using Gogan and the Big Nasty, but that, when he was on our show, and even Crawford Kerr, that lineman mentality, man, those guys were they were different. And they even talked about the that locker room was different. And I'm not in the locker room, but it's just my assessment. It just doesn't seem like it's that way. And maybe that's missing from this team, that accountability of each other is just not there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree with that. It's an ongoing thing with the Cowboys. I saw Ultra said that Dak's got more people fired than the Apprentice, but who has he got fired other than Garrett?
I don't know. Who has he gotten in?
I don't think Dak got him fired. We've only had one head coach. He said, how many head coaches do we need? We've only had one.
Kellen Moore was a top. I mean, the offense has always been near the top. So, Kellen Moore didn't get fired. His contract just wasn't renewed. Garrett, right. I don't think did Garrett get fired, or his contract didn't get renewed? He never got fired.
I don't know that. I'm not sure that I don't remember if Jason Garrett got fired. Actually, I think Jason Garrett did get fired.
Did he?
But
I thought he was on his last year and they didn't renew it.
Oh
my God. Is he going to say Scott Linehan? Holy shit. Doug? Oh my God.
He got Linehan. Linehan got fired. Linehan got fired because he sucked as a play caller. Who was Linehan went with and done anything with? Ultra? What are you talking about?
Kellen Moore didn't last 1 year in San Diego. How many people did Justin Herbert get fired? I mean, let's talk about that.
Ultra is about this close to ending up like that dude that said goddamn Quincy Carter was better than Dak. I'm about to just start ignoring everything Ultra says because that's the dumbest shit he said yet. Linehan was garbage. Garrett's garbage, not coaching. None of those guys are coaching. Kellen Moore's the only one that's still coaching. What in the hell are you talking about, man?
Oh my God. Yeah, but you gotta love. I mean, but that's the thing with when you're on sides, like it's very weird. Like I said this Sunday, and I've said it, I'm sure on here, and you and I talked about it. When you have people with this mindset that I've heard you be very critical of Dak Prescott. I think I've been critical, but you say one positive thing. Now, I have a lot positive I can say about Dak, but if you say one positive thing, you're a Dak lover. You're this, you're that. It's just honest. Like the people on Dak Prescott, it's just the oddest thing I've ever seen. Like the ones that are so against him, it's almost like politics. I hate to bring politics into it. Remember how when you're a Republican or a Democrat, you could be a Democrat, Kelly. I could be a Republican, or vice versa, so that way no one thinks we're either one. And we could sit here and hang out. We can have a conversation, and we're done. Nowadays, if you're a Democrat, I'm a Republican, or vice versa, we can't even talk to each other. Like I've seen families get destroyed over politics. It's the stupidest shit I ever seen. And that's kind of the way it is with Dak Prescott. Is like you can't be a little positive with him, or if you're critical, it's like it's got to be one or the other. It's just the weirdest. It's the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest thing. So.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. It's just it's one of those things where you've got people that live to trash, and that's what they do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And those people are just unhappy ultimately with anything. It's just they've got that. They just got that something deep down in them that has that, because there was the same portion of people that did it with Tony Romo that hated on Tony Romo and called him a choker and a bum and all this stuff. You know, they'll never be happy until a guy goes 40 for 40, 367 yards, 5 touchdowns, no picks, you know, and even at that, you know, they'll find something to nitpick. You know, those guys always find something to nitpick. So, I mean, it's the facts are the facts, man, is that, you know, Dak has not played to, we have yet, but outside of that Tampa Bay game, and, you know, in the Seattle game, he made some winning plays in that Seattle playoff game. But then the Tampa Bay game, I mean, he was phenomenal in that game. But, you know, outside of that, the 2 San Francisco losses and the Green Bay losses, he hasn't played, you know.
I know, but I mean, I hate to say it, but yeah, he played like shit in the first half of the Green Bay game. He was lights out in the second half.
He did. Yeah,
I mean,
he did.
I mean, I hate to say it. Hey, too little, too late. You played like shit in the first half. You got your team in a hole. The defense did too. Oh, by the way, but you know, he came back and fought back. I mean, he was lights out the second half. I think they scored almost every time they had the ball, if not most of it. So, I mean, it's just, you know, like I said, it's a collapse of the team, but people always want to point the finger to one. And it's weird because usually it starts at the top. But for Dallas, it doesn't. I mean, for some people it does, but for some people it doesn't start at the top. But let's get into it. Let's talk about this schedule. And it's, you know, we call it the too early schedule, you know, schedule release. And, you know, we're going to break it down. We're going to do game by game, and we're going to give the predictions. So, someone better grab a piece of paper. I better get a marker or something. I got a marker here, so I can do a little ticker. I got to do K and Mike, and then you guys in the chat, you keep track. So I'm going to do Kelly, and I'll do Mike. And let's get this thing rolling. So we open the season, and we want to get your guys' opinion as well. On the road, open the season on the road at Cleveland. A road opener at Cleveland. What are you thinking, Kelly? I'll let you start with this game. We'll just kind of rotate back and forth. You take the first
one. It's on the road. It's in Cleveland. Team that runs the ball well. Team that's got a pretty damn good defense. I got us losing that game.
Okay. So you got an L. This one, and there's a method to my madness. I think along the same lines as you, on the road, home opener. I think it's going to be, obviously the offenses usually start a little slower, but we're putting a new defense in. I think it's going to be a dirty game, and I think we're going to end up losing. So I think we're going to lose the first one as well. I think we go 0-1. So that's easy enough. We play the Saints second. They're so shitty, I didn't make a thing for them. So hopefully this will be an easy one for us to do. But you've got the Saints home opener, 12 o'clock. What do you Kareem is not very happy with that first game. So not happy. But we got to be realistic. So the Saints, I'll take the Saints. We'll rotate the Saints. I think we're going to win this one easy. I think it's going to be one of those big wins. I think we're much better than the Saints. It's going to be the home opener. Cowboys are going to roll. Should be a pretty easy game. I think you're going to see something good out of Zeke. It's going to be Dak, CD. It's going to be the old band back together. It's going to be kind of reminiscence of maybe 20. What would that be? 2018, whatever it was with CD. But I got Cowboys winning easy. What say you?
Yeah, I got Cowboys winning against the Saints. I definitely do. I think the Saints, they've got some all right pieces. They're not a horrible team, but I don't think ultimately they got enough for the Dallas Cowboys. I think the Cowboys will get that win. Plus they're playing at home opener. It's going to be a lot of energy. I think the Cowboys win that game.
Yes. So now we got them 1-1. Now, week 3, not to mention it's week 3. It's a Cowboys Cave tailgate party. We got a lot of stuff going on. There's going to be a ton of people there. So the hype, the passion, everything is going to be rolling in that. We got the crew all getting together. So It's going to be a big game. It's going to be a big game against the Ravens. What are you? How you feeling about this one, Kelly?
Well, my problem with that game, man, is that I picked that game because I want to go to it. I'm very intrigued by that game. You've got the MVP of last season versus the MVP, the runner-up. They've added a pretty powerful weapon with Derrick Henry there. Initially I looked at this and said that was going to be a loss and we'd be 1-2 at this point. Initially I looked at it, but since we're having a Cowboys cave tailgate, and we're going to have that kind of energy, I feel like we're going to pull this one out and we're going to get a win here against Baltimore. We're going to kind of shock some people. I think it's going to be a very close game, but I think I can't pick against the Cowboys when we're going to be in the house. I'm just gonna say right now, 3 games last year, they won all 3 that we were in the house. At least that I was in the house. I think you went to a few more, but they were undefeated when I was at AT&T. All 3 games I went and saw they won. So they're getting a win against the Ravens. I can't see them losing if I'm in the building. So, and then Mike is in the building and Cowboys Cave tailgate is in the building. I've got that a win. So 2-1 at this point.
We can't lose that one. I haven't seen the Cowboys lose at AT&T since a home opener against the Buccaneers. So whatever year that was, that's the last time. I didn't go to the playoff game. I saved myself the embarrassment. I was smart enough to do that. But so I agree. I think the Cowboys, I had them splitting the Browns and the Ravens. So if I would have thought the Cowboys would beat the Browns, I think we'd slip against the Ravens. But I think this game is one of those games that I kind of put an asterisk by, and I said, you know what? A lot of Cowboy fans are down. They don't believe. I think this is one of those games. It could be false hope. We'll see what happens. But I think this is one of those games where I think Dallas is going to play big at home, and they're going to beat the Ravens, and there's going to be a love fest in the media back to Dallas, and then we'll see what happens the rest of the way. So I agree with you. So that puts us at 2-1. Then we got, some would say a bye week, but I want to be respectful. We got a Thursday night game, so you're coming off a short week, which is always tricky on the road, short week against the New York Giants.
The Cowboys are winning that one. We continue the streak against the Giants. I don't think the Giants got anything for us.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'll save. We don't even need to get a long speech. Giants are terrible. I said they were terrible last year. No one wanted to believe me. I don't think they're going to be good this year. I don't believe in their quarterback. I don't think they dressed enough to move the needle. So I think that's going to be an easy win, which is going to put us at Pittsburgh on the road. Could be Russell Wilson, could be Justin Fields. I think Fields will be the starter at some point. It's that old rivalry you and I did. If you guys missed it, Kelly and I did the top Cowboy rivals of all time. And I want to say, was Pittsburgh number 1? I almost want to say they were 1, if not 1-2. It's been a little while. But it's a big rivalry game. So this is one. I think the Cowboys are the better team. They're always due for a slip up. I don't think they slip up here. I think that slip up is going to happen a little later. So I think Dallas wins.
I do too. I think I don't think Justin Fields or Russell Wilson in either scenario really scare me. Pittsburgh has some decent pieces on that offense. Defensively, they're pretty sound last year, but ultimately, I just don't think they're anything overly scary. Either way, you've got 2 quarterbacks that are learning new systems. It's still early on in the season, fairly early in the season. I don't think whoever it is going to be ready for the Cowboys defense. I think the Cowboys defense, and we get that win there.
Yeah, no. So that then brings us back home to AT&T, Detroit Lions. I think you and I at that game?
We were at that game.
Okay. That was the Jimmy Johnson Ring of Honor game. Some say that we stole the game. Some say that we didn't deserve to win. I was there. You call it whatever you want. I heard the official call the guy as the eligible man. The other guy wasn't called. Quit crying about it. We won the game, but now's their chance for revenge. Do they get the revenge against us?
I think that the Cowboys coming off a little win streak here, we've got us winning, 4 games in a row right there. I think the Lions actually get revenge. I think they're going to come in there motivated to get the win. I think the Lions beat us in that. They got a really good team. They added some more good pieces to that team. Detroit is a legitimate. They're going to be one of the teams, in my opinion, in the NFC that'll be one of the favorites to make a run to the Super Bowl. I think I like their coaching. Not 100% sold on their quarterback still with Jared Goff, but they have some nice pieces around him. Those running backs that they got, very nice. He's got St. Brown, great receiver, good tight end. I mean, they've just got a lot of things. There's not a whole lot not to like about Detroit. So, yeah, I think they're going to come in there and they're going to get revenge for that loss last year. I think we take an L right there.
I mean, you and we have not spoken since our last show, and I agree with you 100%. I think this is a game going to the bye week. They won some games in a row. I don't call this a slip up because I think Detroit's the real deal. I think Detroit wants this game more than Dallas wants it. I think they beat them at home, and I think they get it. Dallas goes into the bye week. They come out of the bye week, and here we go. It is Sunday Night Football at San Francisco, the scene of the crime. McCarthy's record, and I know I'm going to be wrong, so if I am, someone help me and correct me. I believe it's 12-5. It's a very good record coming off a bye week. What do you think's going to happen in this game?
Well, I'd like to say that we break the streak here, but I think that San Francisco is a more fundamentally sound team, a better coach team, just better all around. I don't think the Cowboys are as good top to bottom as San Francisco, playing them on the road. Primetime game. I think San Francisco gets the win, and I hope it's not a repeat of the last time that they just completely demolished us on national TV, but I don't think we're winning.
Yeah. My heart wants this game so bad. I think, I feel the way Green Bay felt in the 90s where they could not beat us. They were the better team a couple times, and they're 11-5 coming off the bye.
Okay.
See, maybe I think they're going to win. Maybe that's why it's 12-5. Maybe that was something I was telling you. But and I just remember those times where I remember their Super Bowl year, and I think we talked about it with one of the guys that we had on. Was it maybe it was George Teague wasn't on that team, but he was on the Cowboys that team, and I think we kind of talked about it with him. Did they feel like a sense of just emptiness because they finally get over the hump and win the Super Bowl, but they never beat Dallas that year. They lost to them in the regular season off like 7 field goals. And then we lost against the Panthers, which would have given them an opportunity to play us in a championship game. So he said no, but I still believe that there's an emptiness in the Packers. But long story short, I don't think the Cowboys are going to be able to overcome San Francisco. I think this could be one of those games where this is what's going to kind of put the Cowboys back down to reality. And it's going to be two tough losses against 2 playoff teams. So you're going to hear the whispers that they could not beat a playoff team, even though that we did say they beat the Ravens. But, of course, they're going to say that. So that is going to bring us in at 4-3. We both have them 4-3. I don't know what you guys in the chat have. You can pop it in there if you want. But that brings us to Atlanta on the road. I think this is going to be another road show for the Cowboys Cave. I think we're going to have a lot of people, going out, checking it out. 4-2-1. Got a tie in there. I think Dallas wins. I'm just going to say it. I'll get it started. I think they're a better team than Atlanta. Atlanta's, Kirk Cousins, Dak's done very well against him. I don't think Atlanta's ready yet. I think Atlanta's building something, but
I got some nice pieces.
And it's going to be a very pro Cowboy stadium. I've been to a lot of games in Atlanta, and the majority of the ones I went to, Dallas dominated the stadium. So I think it's a home game. I think they get the win and kind of get back on track after 2 losses.
And I agree with that. I think that lose two in a row. You're gonna have people, the same old thing where they're saying Cowboys can't beat playoff teams because, but I'll be honest with you right now, the Lions and Niners, I could see that as a type of NFC championship game, honestly. So, I mean, no shame in losing either one of those teams. They're both going to be favorites to win the NFC, in my opinion. I think 1A and 1B for those two teams. So no shame in that, but I think the Cowboys get a nice bounce back win on the road against Atlanta. Atlanta's got some nice offensive pieces they're putting together. They got Bijan Robinson, young running back. They had a couple of pretty, decent receivers. They got Kyle Pitts, tight end, that's kind of, really hasn't, he's not done bad, but he hasn't had the breakout that people have thought he's going to have. Maybe now that he's actually got an actual quarterback thrown to him, because let's face it, Kirk Cousins, I don't think he's done anything in the playoffs. I don't think he's anything kind of type of world beater, but he definitely can fill up a stat sheet, and he can definitely throw you the ball if you get open. So I think Kirk Cousins is going to have a lot of fun with Kyle Pitts this year. I think Kyle Pitts is going to have a really great season, but ultimately I think the Cowboys get the win there. And
yeah, don't give too much fantasy advice out. We got the Cowboys K Fantasy football league, so we don't want people stealing.
Kyle Pitts is going to have a terrible season.
So this brings us to, really, what has become the rivalry in the East, right? I mean, not a lot with Washington and the Giants, but there is a hatred between these two teams. There's definitely no love lost. So this one is going to be at home. It's going to be at AT&T. The first time, and maybe if someone knows the year, I don't know the last time the Cowboys and Eagles have not played a Sunday night game at least once during the season. It's not going to happen this year. They're playing at 3:30 at AT&T at home. I say Cowboys are going to win this one. I think we'll get into the next game, but I think Dallas is going to give them at home. What do you think about it?
I do too. I think Dallas plays well when they play Philly at home. I think that gives us the edge. And even though I think Philly obviously is a more than likely a playoff team again this year, but I think Dallas is going to get them at home. So got Dallas winning that game.
All right. So let's take a pause for a minute and just kind of reflect. Bugsy said it was since 2004. I know it's been a long time. That's crazy. It's been that long. So we're 6-3. So I'm going to be honest. When you're looking at that schedule, if the Cowboys after week 10 can be 6-3, I would be doing. I'd be ecstatic if that's the way it is. But again, we're taking these one game at a time. We know that you're not accounting injuries. You're not accounting our usual Dallas game we're always due for, like the Cardinals, like Kareem said, or we always find that one. So next week we have. So the Cowboys will be home back to back, and they got Monday Night Football against the Houston Texans coming into town. What do you think about that one?
I got to be honest, man. I got this. I think we lose this game. I would hate to. It's going to be it's in AT&T Stadium, but and everybody will talk about CJ Stroud and will he have a sophomore. I think what the Texans did by getting him Diggs, I think is going to prevent any type of sophomore slump. I think he's a great quarterback. I'm going to just be honest. I think he's one of the great young quarterbacks. I was so impressed with him last year, his poise. He reminded me, and I think maybe even you said this one time, it reminded me a lot of Dak Prescott's rookie season. He's very poised in the face of pressure. Didn't really ever seem rattled. And again, their three-headed monster at receiver with, I believe, Collins, Tank Dell, and Diggs is, in my opinion, probably the best, if not one of the best. It's top two, top three wide receiving crews out there. And then when you add, we know that he's got we had some confidence issues with him and stuff, but Dalton Schultz is a pretty nice piece for them at tight end. Yeah. So they've got a really good offense. I think their defense is respectable, and I've got some nice pieces around the defense. Houston is really doing what I wish the Cowboys would have done, and they're kind of they're kind of doing what a lot of teams have done. The model for a lot of teams early to have success is they're going all in and building around their rookie QB, and they're putting big pieces in place while their guy is on a rookie contract. And I think that's paying dividends for him, and I think it continues to pay dividends for him. And unfortunately, as much as I want to win that game, Houston beats us at home.
Yeah, I mean, this is the one we'll disagree. I think Dallas wins. I think Dallas, they're at home. They've always played well at home, over the recent years. Dak's done well at home. The uncommon opponent scares me because I think if you look in history, that's one thing that's given Dallas trouble. So if there's a slip-up game, not saying this would be a slip-up, one of those, Steelers, you look at some of the Browns we talked about, it's not really a slip-up, but any of these games where they're not playing, what they call their uncommon opponent, that's the one that would worry me. I think they win this one. I think they win this one. It will be a close game. I think D'Amico is a hell of a coach. I think he's done great. The defense is good. It's going to be tough. I just think at home, Dallas on Monday night, prime time, I don't know what Dak's record is, but I got to think it's pretty good. I could be wrong, but it just seems like he plays his best at quarterback in some of those primetime games. I didn't say playoffs. I said primetime. So don't go yelling at me, calling me a homer. So I think he gets that, which would lead to the next game, which there's some anticipation, but you got Dallas on the road against Washington. This is kind of the reunion. You got Quinn, you got this, you got that. They're going to be probably starting a rookie quarterback. What do you think is going to happen in this game?
People are going to call me crazy, but I've been saying it, that I think that Washington made the best moves and had the best draft. And obviously that still has to play out. I get it. I think they made the best moves, and I think they have the best draft in the offseason. And I just think all in all, their offseason was without question. And it comes in terms of the NFC East. And I'd even say the NFC is in an entirety. I think they made the best moves. I think they got really nice additions. I like Bobby Wagner back there for their linebackers. I like the young quarterback. I like Jaden actually better than I do Caleb from Jaden Daniels. I like him better than I do Caleb Williams. Think he's going to be the better quarterback. I've been saying it for a while. Thought they made great moves, and I said I think that Washington is going to surprise some people, and I think we split with them this year. That may be kind of giving away a little bit some sort of back end, but I think we lose here. I think we go that game, and I think we lose.
All right. I'm kind of bummed because I thought this is where we'd even up, and I do have Dallas losing. I'm not going to repeat everything you said because you said it pretty much on point to my feeling. As much as it pains me, I think this is one of those games where Dallas is going to have a slip up, and I think that Washington is going to be underestimated. And again, it's going to be one of those games where they're going to want this one probably more than we do. I think Quinn's going to want it. I think we're going to lose this game. I'm not saying they're the better team, but I think there we go. 73-41 in primetime game. That's pretty damn good for Dak Prescott. That's a lot. Like Dallas plays a lot of primetime games. That's a lot of primetime games for a quarterback. They play
a lot of primetime games.
That's pretty damn good.
It feels like every year, damn near half the season. And somebody had told me earlier that I was arguing with somebody, and somebody told me that the Dallas Thanksgiving game is not considered a primetime. I said, well, they don't when they said the number of primetime games we have, but let's face it, it's a primetime game. I don't know if anybody, I looked the numbers up. Last year's Thanksgiving game the Cowboys played was the second most watched regular season game of all time.
It's 1,000% a primetime game.
It's a primetime game. So
1,000%.
They said we've got 6 primetime games. We've got 7 because Thanksgiving is a primetime game. So I'm just going to say that right now. It's primetime game.
100% agree. That leads us to our homecoming game. Our homecoming game is and slash Thanksgiving game, but you know how it is. Typically, you play the shitty teams on your homecoming. Like in high school, you always make sure you schedule that easy win, so you have the floats and the parade and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to have the Giants as our homecoming opponent on Thanksgiving. That being said, I don't need to say a whole lot. They're going to beat them. We're going to win that game. And also, just a quick score update. It looks like they're going back and forth between Dallas and Minnesota. I think is it in the third quarter? I think the third quarter started at third quarter 64-63. I got it, Minnesota. So going back and forth, but I got the Dallas Cowboys sweeping the Giants. What do you say?
I do too.
All right.
It's
Well, that's
sweet.
easy. Man, a few words doesn't need to be said.
Nope.
So as we speak, we're a game off. You're 7-5. I'm 8-4. This is what we call the stretch run. This is, Jimmy Johnson always used to say after Thanksgiving, that's kind of where this is where you get your streak. This is where you get things rolling. So the Cowboys are going to welcome another Monday night game. So they get it's an extended bye week, really, but they're going to get the Cincinnati Bengals Monday night at home, AT&T. This is a weird game because if people remember when Dak got hurt a couple years ago, I was at the game and it was doom and gloom and we were playing the Bengals and we had Cooper Rush in there and our defense played absolutely lights out. We ended up beating Cincinnati. And the famous words after my hype video is, what did I say? I forgot it. Don't count us out yet. It was something like that. Or don't kill us off. It was something. See, I can't remember. I'm getting too old. But it was a good video. It went viral. So that's why I say it was so nice. But that was a game that came back. I don't know. This is, again, one of those games where I'm just a little nervous to pick them to win. But I got them kind of losing. And I want to see if maybe you could, because I'm on the fence with this one. Maybe you can convince me otherwise.
So I've got what is my current record right now?
7-5. Don't cheat though. I want your feelings.
No. I know. I'm 7-5. I'm just looking. I'm kind of looking at this game. So I think that I'm looking at something here real quick. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say because the first Eagles game we called was at home, right?
Yeah. Next one's on the road.
And the next one's on the road. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna stick with my conviction because I've already went through the schedule and this is the way I feel. I got it as a loss.
You got it as a loss. All right. Well, then you didn't change my mind, and I got it as a loss too. So that puts us at 7-6 and 8-5. I don't know where it's. Yeah, so we're coming down to the stretch. So hopefully this next one shouldn't take too long. Carolina Panthers at Carolina.
Dub.
So that's easy. That's 8-6 and 9-5. Really not even a whole lot we need to talk about that one. And then, maybe a game to talk a little bit about. Then we go on the road. We go on the road against Philadelphia. Again, it's going to be a 4:00 game Eastern, 3:30.
Bucks.
Oh, is it Bucks? I apologize. I got ahead of myself. We do have the Bucks. I got excited. I apologize. We got the Bucks on Sunday night. Thank you, Kelly. Bucks on Sunday night. I apologize.
And I got that as a win. That's a home game for the Cowboys. Prime time, 7:20, like you said. Dak does play well in prime time, so I don't have him losing multiple prime time games this year. So I've got him winning that one. I think that the Bucks got some nice pieces, man. Baker Mayfield is a serviceable quarterback. He's not anybody that really strikes a ton of fear into you, but he's a guy that got it done with the Bucks last year, and they have some nice pieces on defense. They got some nice pieces on offense. Good enough to be a fringe playoff team, in my opinion, possibly again this year in that division, because I don't think there's really I don't really see Atlanta being ready to contend there yet. Carolina's garbage, and then you got the Saints, which I don't think are that good. So I think it's Tampa Bay's division to lose. So I think that's going to be a playoff team, in my opinion, but I think the Cowboys ultimately get the win at home on prime time.
Yeah, I'm with you. Easy enough. I take it. And now we got the rematch. So this time it's in Philly, right? I got that right. Yeah. We're in Philly. Someone's like, hey, this could possibly move to a Sunday night game. I would be shocked because the simple fact is Dallas is playing Tampa on Sunday night the week before. I don't think they would do back-to-back Sunday night games. So I think this will be the first time that these two teams do not play on Sunday night since it was said in the chat 2004. So on the road, I got them losing this one. I think we'd split with Philly. That's kind of been the trend. So I think that will continue. So I think Dallas loses this one.
Yep. Same here. I got this as a loss. I got a split with Philly. Philly always just we tend to play great games against Philly home. I was looking back the other day, and I don't remember how far I got back, but it's been a while since either one of these teams has been swept. Like, it's been a while since Philly swept us, or since
it's probably been a while. Yeah,
I mean,
I would bet.
I
Yeah,
was going back, and it has not been. It's definitely not been since Dak's the quarterback. They've split every year since Dak's been the starting quarterback.
see, I thought Dak got him 1 year. I thought he got him early on. The 1 year I remember, I thought they were going to split with us. We beat him with Andy Dalton.
Oh, maybe that was it. I'm not sure. I think his record is 9, I think Dak's record's 9-4 versus Philly.
I thought it's 9-4, so he had to split. He had to sweep him at least once.
He had to sweep him one time, but I was looking back over the deal, and I hadn't seen it. His injured year, did he beat them once and then we lost to them at the end of the year, maybe without Dak?
His injured year, the one injured year we beat him and then we lost, right? That was with Cooper Rush. The 1 year we lost to him and then beat him, I believe that was, or no, I don't think we played him yet. Andy Dalton, I know, beat him in Philly. I remember that one. I remember we split with him and Andy Dalton beat him, but I thought Dak got him once, but maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to look at it because I'm curious when the last time we swept them, because I feel like it's been a long time. But I don't. I guess.
Yeah. If anyone knows in the chat, let us know. Going into the final game, and this could be something. Division could be on the line. Possibly this will be a TBD. This could be a night game if it matters most. There's no Washington. What is it?
2021.
2020. Yeah. So it's been 3 years.
2021 is the last time that we swept them. And then outside of that, you got to go back to 2018. So Dak swept them in 2018. So So, but only 2 sweeps over,
not 8 years, something like that.
2016, let's just say 2016, 2024, only twice that there's been a sweep. And it's been the Cowboys both times. So that's
Of course. That's the way it works. That's the way it works. But going into the finale, Dallas and Washington. Now Washington's coming into town. So this could be division on the line. This could be playoff implication seeding. What do you think is going to happen in this one?
I got them getting redemption for that loss. They lost to Washington on the road, I think, this time around. I think the Cowboys are playing, good football. And I think that the Cowboys take the Commanders out and give Dan Quinn a little taste of his own medicine.
So I agree. I think that's going to happen. Let me just put this up here. So that would put you having them at 10-7. That's at 10-7. That's good enough is that good enough for the playoffs, or is that good enough, do you think, for a division? What do you think?
I think it's good enough. I think it's going to be good. I think it's good enough for the division, honestly, because I think the reason I say that, I think Philly's got a really tough schedule along with the Cowboys this year. And I know Philly has made some moves, but the same reasons why I was concerned, and the same reason, I know there hasn't been a repeat winner for a long time. But the same reasons that I have questions about Philly this year, even though that, I'm not, super sold on what the Cowboys did, obviously, in the offseason, but the same questions I had about Philly last year, I have this year. New defensive coordinator, new offensive coordinator. And, everybody last year was like, dismissed, and whatever, they'll just roll. But, I mean, you saw the problems that they had. They had major problems defensively all year long, and they got lucky early on. They got lucky. There was several games that the Eagles played that I watched that they should have lost, that they hung on and won by the skin of their teeth. That Bills game, they should have lost that game. There was a game, I think it was the Chiefs game that they squeaked one out to get the Chiefs. They won against the Chiefs. They should have lost that game. I mean, there was several games along the way that they eked it out and they got lucky, won by the skin of their teeth. So I think they're going to have that same kind of thing this year. And I think that Philly is, I like Saquon Barkley addition to the team. I don't think he's playing more than 14 games, though. I think he's going to be injured at some point in the season. I think he's going to miss a few games along the way. So I don't like their depth at running back outside of Saquon. And, I still think their linebackers are questionable. I think the fact that they're going to be depending on some rookie DBs to get some significant playing time, I don't think that ever bodes well, because just throughout the history of the draft and looking at rookie DBs playing, you might get some solid play, but there's going to be they're going to get exploited, because that's one of the
there's a learning curve there.
It's one of the hardest positions to come in and be a star in your rookie season. And while I like the 2 picks that they got, the 2 DBs that they drafted, I don't think either one of them is coming in year one and going to be a guy that you're going to be like, we can't throw this guy's direction. No, I think they're going to get picked on often, but I think that it's a build for the future for them. And I think both of those guys will be pretty nice. I like both those picks, honestly. I can't hate on them. But I think Philly's going to struggle defensively again. And I don't think Kellen Moore and Jalen Hurts, I don't think that's a good match. I had thought Philly, their record was going to be either tied or better than us, just because, their off season I thought was a little bit better. But then someone was kind enough to remind me who their offensive coordinator was, and it was Kellen Moore. So I think 11-6 for Dallas wins the division. I think Philly's going to be that 10. I think they're going to be right in that 10-win thing. But I want to read this off to you and get your thoughts. And if anyone wants to chime in the chat, they can. NFL Network or NFL.com put together the top 10 most complete teams in 2024. Okay. Here's who they got. And just tell me how many names sound familiar when you're looking at this Cowboys schedule. Ranked number 1, San Francisco 49ers. Number 2, Baltimore Ravens. Number 3, Kansas City Chiefs. Number 4, Detroit Lions. Number 5, Philadelphia Eagles. Number 6, Cincinnati Bengals. Number 7, Houston Texans. Number 8, Green Bay Packers. Number 9, Cleveland Browns. And number 10, the New York Jets. 1, do you agree with that? 2, if my count was right, 7 of the 10 teams are on our schedule. If you believe what NFL that's what I was going to say. That sounds like they just literally went up and down the Cowboys schedule and read it. I don't agree that the Philadelphia Eagles are a complete team.
That would surprise me, because I just don't think their pass rush. Right? Who's rushing the passer for them?
Yeah, I look at that team. I think they're thin at line. I think they're thin at linebacker. I don't think they've got a great pass rusher. I don't think their DBs are all that particularly. I think that defense has got a lot of question marks. I don't think their defense is going to be good. I think their offense will be pretty good again this year. I think they'll be fairly good, but I just don't like Kellen Moore and Hurts combo, and I think that's going to lead to some red zone deficiencies, in my opinion. So out of those teams, I don't buy Philly. The rest of them, I don't have a problem with. I do think the Bengals, with Joe Burrow, if he's healthy, man, I mean, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the AFC. I think it's Patrick Mahomes and then Joe Burrow, in my opinion, as far as 2 of the best quarterbacks in the AFC. And then,
let's look at it. Let's be fair with them, because their offseason moves, if they play out, right? They got their only linebacker they have is they did pick up Devin White, who was, and I'm just going to say this, was not very good in Tampa the last couple of years. I mean, Tampa they were happy to see him leave, but he's got the name, right? It's Devin White, a top pick. And then they did pick up, Josh Sweat and Bryce Huff. I mean, they're we'll see what happens with the pass rush with that. They do have the interior rookies, or not the rookies, but the Georgia kids, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis. I just don't know if they've got the pass rush, that the elite pass rush that they've had in the past. I just don't know if they do. So,
yeah, and I don't think so either. I just, it's not a knock on Philly. I mean, I hate them, but I do try to be fairly unbiased when it comes to Philly. And again, like I said, they have a lot of question marks, man. You can't just sit there and look at it and be like, well, we can throw in a new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, and everything's going to be, just perfectly fine. And we're going to have some young DBs that we're going to give significant playing time. We're going to be just fine. We're fine. I just, it's some of those same things. If I'm being honest, it's some of those same things that have me worried about the Cowboys, because, where you look at certain places and pieces that are weaknesses and you say, okay, well, Philly's secondary. They're going to have some, I understand they got Bradbury back, but, he's been a guy that literally Philadelphia was trashing him just the year before last when he left. Trashed him. Now all of a sudden he's the second thing of, he's the second coming of Deion Sanders, But, when I look at this Cowboys team, it's kind of how I feel about this linebacking crew. I like Kendricks, and I compared to Philly because Philly's got Slay. I like Slay as a DB. I like Kendricks as a linebacker. But outside of that, what does Philly really have that's dependable in their DBs? There's not really anybody else out there that scares you. Same thing with our linebackers. What do we got out there? I think we got a potential in Overshown, but I've said it a million times and I'll continue to say it. I don't know that. I haven't seen it in regular season. I need to see it. He's coming off a significant injury. Is that going to have any effect? Is it going to get him off to a slow start? Is he going to be the guy that's going to come out there right away? People talk about Damone Clark. He'll make a jump with Zimmer. He'll be better. He'll be more defensively sound with Zimmer. Do we know that for sure? That's all of that is speculation, and all of it is the unknown. And you don't know until you actually see these guys on the field playing significant snaps. And so some of the things that I feel about the Eagles, I feel about the Cowboys, and those are some of the reasons that give me pause to think, did we do enough to get ourselves? And I think that if we finish 11-6, me 10-7, I think that we could finish with those records. If it's 11-6, 10-7, flip a coin. And like you said, I think we could end up being better just because of some of the teams that we play this year. I mean, it's a gauntlet schedule. It really is. There's some great teams we're playing. There's no slouches this year. I think 9 of the teams on our schedule were playoff teams last year. That's hefty. That's
there's no excuses. They can't say we didn't beat nobody, because if we're in the playoffs, we had to beat some people in order to get there. You know what I mean? They can't say we didn't beat nobody. I'm going to ask you a bold question. Better roster, top to bottom, the Eagles or Cowboys?
I'm going to say Cowboys. I'll say Cowboys.
Okay. All right.
I do. I really do, because I think that the most important position all is quarterback, and I'll take Dak Prescott over Jalen Hurts any day. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, Jalen Hurts has had 2 mediocre seasons, and then he had one season that I thought was a good season. I don't think it was a great season. I mean, even statistically, when you look at what he did that year, it didn't really blow anybody away. It wasn't mind-blowing numbers that he put up. He just had a good season, I'd say above average season, but with a great team around him, and you need that. You need a great team around you to do that, to succeed. But I think Dak Prescott consistently has shown that he can do it. Like, consistently, his numbers are there every single year. You know what Dak's going to be. He's going to be a guy that's going to sling the rock. He's going to throw a lot of touchdowns. He's going to be a guy that's going to put up some numbers, and he's going to win you. He's going to win you double-digit games. That's what he does. And with Jalen Hurts, so right there, that just kind of automatically gives the edge because of the quarterback. But then when I just look at the back end and I look at the secondary and the fact that, we're still not done. I've heard that Gilmore is a possibility of coming back. They can't negotiate anything. He's got the shoulder injury he's dealing with. Can't negotiate right now because of the injury, apparently. I think Gilmore has a really good chance of ending back up on this team. And even if he doesn't, the fact that you've got Diggs, and you've got Trayvon Diggs and Bland, I think are 2 of the most dynamic DBs in this league. And I don't think you can say that for Philadelphia. I think Micah Parsons is one of the most dynamic pass rushers. I don't think that you got that on the Philadelphia team. So yeah, I've got them all. I've got them all going. Now Gilmore, too slow.
He's crafty. He doesn't have the speed, but he's a veteran.
I think he's good enough to be. I think he's good enough to be still on this team and be a DB to get time. I don't think you have to put him out and be the starting outside corner. I think but again,
but you could put him outside and Bland in the nickel.
Back into the slot, move Bland back into the slot, and could. So I don't necessarily think that you couldn't do that. I like Gilmore. I like the veteran presence, and I like what he does with this team, and I like how he did last year. And I'd love to see him get a chance to play opposite of Trayvon Diggs. I think that would be something to watch there. But
this is the interesting thing, and I don't know if I'm off or not, but I got Dallas is in the lead against Minnesota. But the interesting, it's a close back and forth game. If you broke down positional groups, this is the thing that surprised me, because I thought about it and I went through it with Philly. The craziest thing is if you break it down, I would have had it reversed. I have Dallas at the edge of most of the defensive categories. I mean, the one that you could argue is defensive line, but if you throw Parsons on the defensive line, I think that just skews it to Dallas's way. I think the Eagles have better depth and personnel, but I think Micah Parsons is just such a difference maker. I think that changes everything. But if you look offensively, you got to give him the edge at running back. You got to give him the edge at receiver, and tight end if you want to include it. And you got to give him the edge at offensive line on paper. Now, I say that because we don't know what Guyton and Beebe are going to do. They can end up being Frederick and Tyron Smith all over, again, and we're sitting there great. Ferguson could end up, and of course I'm repping Ferguson, he could end up being the second coming of Kelsey, and then all of a sudden that changes everything. Quarterback's really the major edge, but that's the biggest edge that you need to have is who's a better quarterback. But it just surprised me because Eagles, you think of them so much as being a better defensive team than the Cowboys, but I don't know if they're going to be a bit better defensive team than the Cowboys this year.
Yeah. I mean, it's close. When you look at them side by side,
it's very close.
It's definitely close. I just, like I said, it's some of the most important positions. Outside, obviously, I give them the edge in running back, but in some of the most important positions, I really think that the Cowboys kind of got the edge there. I think the
quarterback, right? Quarterback, pass rusher, wide receiver, and
quarterback, secondary. Yeah, I mean, and it's. It is what it is. I mean, and Philly and Dallas, they go at it every year, and I'm sure Philly fans would probably say that they got the better roster, and but again,
and they can make a fair. I mean, they can make their fair argument. I'm sure they could, but I think it's close, and that's why I think this division. You got 10 wins, I got 11 wins. I think if Dallas hits one of those two, I think they win the division.
Yeah, and the thing about that too is that when you look at the schedule, there two things that I'd say about this. Also, it's still very early. We could still come out and make a move or two. The Cowboys, I don't necessarily think are done making moves. There could be a trade. There could be a guy that gets cut from camp that we pick up that we don't that could be a significant contributor. There's still some free agents out there that once camp starts, if we look at things in the Cowboys, coaching staff says, hey, we're a little thin at these positions. Maybe we need to address some of these and then go out and address it versus some of these guys that are free agent guys. So not done really making moves. I don't think there will be any significant impact guys that we get, but there could be some depth pieces, some things that could change here and there. And also you have to think about, anytime you go through a season, there's always one team that's predicted to be good that has a fall off or has a major injury that really affects them. Maybe the quarterback goes down, maybe a star wide receiver. That could be the Cowboys for all we know, but knock on wood. But I just, ultimately, the disappointing thing for me right now, though, is when I look at this Cowboys roster, the one thing that I look at, they're going to have to change my mind. They're going to have to go out on the field and they're going to have to change my mind because right now, I look at this team as a playoff team, but I look at it as a team who's not going anywhere when the playoffs begin. I just don't see it. I think we're probably a one and done team as far as I'm concerned right now. I haven't seen anything to make me think anything other than that. And it's a little frustrating because I'll still get excited. I'll still enjoy the games. I'll still love, that football's back and that, because that's the kind of guy I am. I'm that kind of fan, but it's also a little disheartening because I'm sitting there looking at it. And ultimately, I like going into years thinking that we got a chance to win a Super Bowl. And I thought that we did last year. And I kind of thought we did the year before. And I thought we did the year before. Now, I'm not one of those fans that's checking the box saying that I was going, this is our year. Because I wasn't thinking that. But I was thinking, hey, we got a shot.
You got a shot. All you ask for is a shot.
That's all you want is a shot, right? You want to have a shot. And this year, I'm looking at it and, maybe I change my mind once the season starts and start seeing, some of these guys on the field and seeing Zimmer's defense, take take hold and see some of the changes, maybe I change my mind. But as of right now, it's discouraging to me because I'm ready for football, but at the same time, I'm just like, am I in for deja vu? Because
but that's the crazy thing about it, though, is like when we look at, again, you got them at 10-7. I got them at 11-6. We ran off the top 10 complete teams. 7 of those 10 are on our schedule. And we just said that we're going to win 10 or 11 games. You'd think that they got a shot. That's the crazy thing with this team is the PTSD that we have from that playoff loss to the Packers is just not able to get out of our mind. We could win 13 games, and I still think it's going to be in a lot of people's mind. It's all right. Well, we got to see it in the playoffs, and it's and that's what's going to make this season challenging for the fans. Is you want to be all in, and we're all going to be all in. I mean, we're fans. That's what you love to do, but there's always going to be that thought in the back of your mind, like, yeah, man, do I want to set myself up one more time to get kicked in the nuts? I mean, I don't know, but but then you read off those teams, man. Imagine you're the Dolphins. My brother's a Dolphins fan. The Dolphins don't get a lot of shit. You don't see them in the mid 23 years had won one playoff game, and they're one of the most prestigious franchises in the NFL. They're a cornerstone franchise. The Oakland, now Vegas. They went back to Oakland since they won the last playoff. But Vegas Raiders, then you're going back 18 years, another cornerstone franchise. So, I mean, I know we got it bad, but you start looking at that stuff, you're like, man, they got it really bad.
They got it really bad. No, and I try to keep things in perspective, and I try to go back and I try to look and say, there's still 12 teams in the NFL, which is damn near half the league that still has never won a Super Bowl. 12 teams out of 32, right? I mean, that's almost half the league, right?
And then how many have won one? Like how many
just one?
Yeah.
And and I was arguing with somebody the other day because they were talking about, how could you have faith in Jerry Jones? And I said, look, I'm not saying that I have faith in Jerry. I said, I said, but I just don't agree with the people that put it all on Jerry Jones, because I say, look at how well this team is drafted over the last 10 years. I don't have the number in front of me, but I do know that the Cowboys are towards the top of the league in terms of guys that they have drafted that have went on to be in the league and get a second contract. The Cowboys are at the top. I don't know if they're number 1 or number 2, but I know they're right up there as one of the teams that have drafted the best. Look at the amount of talent that Jerry has put on that team through the draft. And people may say, well, Jerry didn't pick this guy. Well, Jerry put Will McClay in a position of power to make that, right? So that was Jerry's decision to get Will McClay in there. Jerry has kept Will McClay around by paying him and keeping him from going, because other teams have looked at Will McClay as a GM and said, hey, we want a GM. Jerry has managed to keep him. So, but look at all the talent they put. Hall of Fame talent all over the board. You can go down the list. I could just rattle off names off that the Cowboys have had. At some point, the players got to play. The coaches got to coach. Jerry can't go out there and strap the pads on. He ain't had pads on since he was back at the Arkansas with old Jimmy Johnson playing. I mean, it's a long damn time. They had leather helmets the last time.
Switzer was the coach. Switzer was one of the coaches.
Exactly. So for those, I can put some on Jerry. Like we could be frustrated about the lack of the moves in the offseason. Why are they dragging these contracts out? Why didn't they get some of these contracts done? But when it comes to the overall success of the team, I can't keep continuing to point at Jerry, because I say, how many other GMs in this league have won 3 Super Bowls in the span that it's 30 years since we won? Name me more than 3 GMs who have multiple Super Bowls. You can't, because it's Kraft, it's the Chiefs GM, and then I think that's it. I don't know anybody else.
Pittsburgh won 2.
And then I think Pittsburgh won 2.
They won 2.
And then the Giants won 2. So outside of that, okay, nobody else has multiple Super Bowls that they've won. So winning multiple Super Bowls is hard. And, ultimately, if Jerry never wins another one, he still won 3. I mean, he's still in the main, whether you give Jimmy Johnson the majority of the credit or Jerry hired Jimmy. So some people get a little too harsh on Jerry. For me, I get the frustration. Me and you have talked about it. We went back and forth ad nauseum, but the players got to play. And I think this Cowboys team has all the talent. I think they have all the talent to do it. And they've got to put it together. And maybe in a year when the expectations are down, maybe this is the year.
That's the thing. The expectations are low.
Maybe that's what they need.
Maybe flying under the radar and being doubted, and maybe, you know, some of these guys, you know, the coaches on that, they're not going to get extended. Dak, I think, will get extended. We talked about that, but maybe there's message sent. Maybe there's us. You know, I always say that. To me, I agree with you 1,000%. Is you can't blame Jerry. I mean, it's the players and the coaches. If you want to take a step up to the coaches, this team is talented. There hasn't been, no one's argued that this hasn't been one of the most talented rosters. You know, they've had a talented team. I mean, Cowboys have been very competitive for 20 years now. You know, It's been almost 20 years between Romo and Dak Prescott. You're getting close to 20 years. They've been competitive. Not many losing seasons, but not a lot of playoff success. That is on the players. I mean, this team is talented. You win 12 games 3 straight years, and you got one playoff win to show it within those 3 years. That's unacceptable. But that's on the players. How do you blame Jerry? The only thing you can blame Jerry is the culture. Is there a culture that's created? But to me, the players have to overcome that culture. The players, again, Michael Irvin, he had that culture. You know, they had that. Fur coat and all this and that, and Emmitt Smith, and they all overcame it and won championships. So don't tell me that it can't be done. And one other programming note, besides a ton of people, or over 200 people on Twitter, make sure you guys get over to YouTube and hit that subscribe, like, and share. I don't know if you remember this. I forgot all about it, but my brother reminded me today. And, you know, we talked about that Tom Brady roast. You love that. You watched that Tom Brady roast, right?
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't the OG of roast. Do you know that we had a Dallas Cowboy that got roasted? It was a long time ago.
Emmitt Smith.
Emmitt Smith. I forgot all about it. And I was, my brother said, man, he goes, you screwed up. When you had Moose on, man, you should have asked him about the roast, because Moose bombed on the roast. And I forgot all about it. Didn't even think about it. But they played Jeff Ross roasting at Emmitt Smith's. It was the the things he said about Shaq, Michael Irvin, a little bit of Emmitt Smith. He wasn't too hard on Emmitt Smith. And then Jamie Foxx was the host. That was one of the best roasts. I watched it over again. It made the Brady one look tame. Brady one look tame.
It was good. It was good. I remember that one because Jamie Foxx just destroys this comedian,
Doug Williams. Yeah, I ended up watching all this stuff because, he embarrassed me.
Absolutely destroyed him. That was hilarious, man. That was a really good one.
Yeah. And then also, we're gonna probably be wrapping it up soon because Kelly's got a pack, and it's almost the fourth quarter, or they're getting in the fourth of the game. I know Kelly and all you guys do, the Dallas Maverick fans. But hey, want to give a good shout out to Danny. I don't know if he's on Instagram, but he's been battling cancer, and he is on his fifth round of treatments, and he's almost cancer free. He's a big fan of the show. He's a fan of the channel, and he is actually the one. He was the guy that when Kevin Gogan, was talking about it, and he said, he's friends with him. And he was the guy that told Goga, said, man, you hit the big time now. The Cowboys cave watch it. You hit the big time. So definitely thoughts and prayers out to Danny. He's a great guy. Hopefully he's looking to be at the tailgate party. I said, you're going to be 100% cancer-free by the time that tailgate party starts, and we're going to have a good time. So definitely keep him in your prayers. But it's, So I love Cowboys Nation. It's just the greatest fan base, and that's why I say we love this shit. But
absolutely.
Any last words, Kelly? Anything you want to add?
No, I think we covered it all. We killed almost an hour and a half here. I know it's a slow time in the season where there's not a lot of news, there's not a lot of coverage, there's not a lot going on. But get out here and try talking with you guys and have some engaging conversation. Even though I'm pretty disappointed that Ultra wouldn't take the bet. I feel he's scared.
Well, I will tell you this. I think you ran him off, and then he came under an alias. He came under the alias.
I saw the alias. I saw the alias. I just, it's funny because he talks about he always with the conviction that he has about the Dak's not going to get re-signed. That's why I was just like, all right, I'm just going to put this out here. I'll take some free money if you want to throw me some free money. I think that's why he didn't want to bet. He knows it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
They're going to come in here and throw out the predictions. Have some conviction, all right? Have some conviction with what you say. Don't just say it and throw it. Anybody can say stuff. I mean, absolutely. I can sit here and say we're going to Cowboys are going to go 6-10, but or 6-11, but have some conviction, right? So anyway, whatever. But no, I just want to say thanks to everybody that continues to come in. It looks like we got 201 people right now. Thank you to everybody that continues to come in and chop it up with us and talk football as we get closer to football. Obviously, there's going to be more to talk about, more to get excited about. Cowboys tailgate, September 22nd. Baltimore Ravens and Dallas Cowboys. So if you guys are in the Dallas area, or if you're planning to go to a game, you've been looking at the schedule, you're like, damn, what game? Baltimore Ravens, September 22nd in Dallas. You can have the Cowboys Cave hosting that thing live in the parking lot of AT&T Stadium. We're going to have Cuts by Jones out there. We're going to have Doug out there, me, Mike, and so many more of Cowboys.
We might have some surprise. We might have some surprise guests. Friends of that, maybe some guests who've been guests on the show. Maybe a couple may be showing up. I mean, now that and then we may even have an old friend who's maybe has a return. But we hadn't put the words out. But maybe someone's back in Dallas. Maybe someone needs to come out and make a little appearance.
That's
at
right.
The Cowboys game. I haven't seen her in a while, so that'll be
exactly who you're talking to. And I have put the invite out there, and I have been told. It is a priority to get out there and come out there and see us. So I think Cowboys Nation will be more than excited to see. We're not going to give it away because you're not
giving anything away. They're not going to give anything away.
We're going to have some people out there that you'd probably be more interested in cutting it up with me and Mike. I mean, we're great guys, but I'm just saying some of the people that might be showing up to the tailgate to hang with us, to party with us, to chop it up with Cowboys Nation might just be worth the price of admission. So we'd love to see you guys out there. But again, thanks for the love and the support on the channel. If you haven't already, there's 200 people in here. There should be 200 likes on this video right now. If you're watching it on X, I know a lot of people do that. Just take a moment, man. Just slide over to YouTube. I'm not, I can't chastise you if you don't, because I don't know if you did it or not. But we can look at the subscribers and tell if we picked up anybody new. So if you got love for me, if you got love for Mike, we ain't too proud to beg. Come on and give us a sub, man, because the more subs we get, the more we can grow this channel and keep bringing you guys great content over the offseason, during the season, Cowboys Cave Tailgate, events, giveaways, all the good stuff that we like to do for you guys as fans. So, again, thanks for bringing it in and chopping it up on a Wednesday evening. It's time to check out, go to vacation, and hopefully Mavericks pull out this fourth quarter win. Nail biter.
Yeah, it's getting close. And, Chuck, hey, Kelly and I will be sitting. We're hanging. We're going to be hanging out. We'll be chilling in the club. So if you got any guys in the club, you come find us. We're going to have a good time. But we will be out the tailgate. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. Exactly. We can't wait. So you guys, again, I'm not going to echo what Kelly said. All said perfectly. Appreciate all the support, all the love you guys give us, man. We do this shit for fun. We do it to hang with you guys, man. But any support you can give by just hitting that subscribe, like, and sharing it with Cowboys Nation don't cost you nothing, man. We appreciate it. Have a great weekend. Be safe, Kelly. Enjoy it. Hopefully we get some war stories come next week when we get together. If we do, if not, it'll be the following week because I know you're on vacation. But when you get back, I expect to hear some stories, some good ones.
Absolutely.
So, all right. Take care. We'll see you. Bye.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry. I need somebody.